So now we are finished with the development of the duodenum. The duodenum is a very important structure. From the ventral wall of the duodenum, many other organs of the derivatives of the first of the foregut are going to derive. So from the foregut epithelium, from the foregut endoderm, the duodenum part of the foregut endoderm, the liver is going to grow in the forward direction. Also, the extrahepatic biliary apparatus and the pancreas also grow from the endoderm derived from the foregut, which is the duodenum part. So let's see the liver development first. So for the liver is formed in the form of a bud, the liver bud, which is actually the endoderm outpouching or evagination from the foregut. So from the ventral wall of the foregut, you can see a bud is arising from the ventral wall of the foregut. Where exactly in the ventral wall of the foregut? At the portion of the duodenum. So this endoderm bud, which is arising from the foregut duodenum part, is called as the liver bud. This arises at third week of development. And what does it consist of? It is consist of rapidly proliferating cells, epithelial cords. So this bud is proliferating into a structure over here. This is called as the septum transversum. This is the septum transversum. It's a mesoderm plate, and into this mesoderm plate, septum transversum, the liver cords, epithelial cords are going to penetrate. Because of this penetration of the liver epithelial cords into the septum transversum, what will happen? The liver will, certain cells of the liver will form. So the liver epithelial cords are going to give rise to the parenchyma of the liver, that is the liver cells. Also, the lining of the biliary ducts will be formed by this liver epithelial cords. When they are penetrating, the liver epithelial cords, when they are penetrating, on their way they will intermingle with the vitelline and the umbilical veins, and this leads to the formation of hepatic sinusoids. Now, there are some derivatives of the septum transversum as well. Because the liver epithelial cords are penetrating into the septum transversum, so some structures will be derived from the septum transversum as well. Those are the hematopoietic cells, Kupffer cells and connective tissue cells of the liver, which will be acquired from the septum transversum. Now, this picture we had already seen, and we have seen the proportion of the liver. So the liver is by the 10th week of development, the weight of the liver is almost 10% of the body weight, total body weight of the fetus. But at birth, this reduces to almost 5% of the total body weight. Its main function in the fetal period is hematopoietic function, and also it starts secreting bile by 12th week. Now, after finishing the liver, now we know that the liver was developing as the endoderm outgrowth from the region of foregut, that is from the duodenum. The extrahepatic biliary apparatus also takes its origin from the same position. So actually what happens is the connection which is between the liver bud, this is the liver bud, and the foregut. Which part of the foregut? The duodenum part. So this connection, which was connecting the liver bud to the foregut, this gradually narrows, and when it narrows, what will it form? It will form the bile duct. So this connection between the liver bud and the foregut duodenum part is going to form the bile duct. Now, how the gallbladder is formed? The gallbladder actually is formed by the ventral outgrowth. So this is the bile duct which was formed which was the communication between the liver bud and the foregut duodenum part. So from this bile duct, an outgrowth is taking place. This outgrowth gives rise to the gallbladder, and the connection between this gallbladder outgrowth and the bile duct is going to form the cystic duct. So now we know that the extrahepatic biliary apparatus are also taking its origin from the same source, that is from the ventral outgrowth of the foregut. Which particular part? The duodenum part. Now these are the clinical entities related to the extrahepatic biliary apparatus. So the most common is the obliteration of the bile duct. So this is the obliteration of the bile duct. Because of this, there will be distension in the gallbladder and the hepatic ducts, distension in the hepatic ducts, which is distal to the obliteration. The another common entity is the duplication of the gallbladder. So After knowing about the development of the liver and the extrahepatic biliary apparatus, we came to know that the source was the same, that was the foregut endoderm in the region of duodenum. Outgrowth of from this region, or evagination from this endodermal evagination from this region, developed into the liver and extrahepatic biliary apparatus. One more structure that grows from the same region, that is the foregut endoderm, from the foregut endoderm of the duodenum part, is the pancreas. Now let's see how this pancreas is developing. So the steps of the development of pancreas is, the first step is the formation of the pancreatic bud. The second step is the rotation of the pancreatic buds, and finally the fusion of the pancreatic buds. So the pancreas develops as the buds first. So there is a ventral pancreatic bud which is arising from the ventral aspect, and from the dorsal aspect the dorsal pancreatic bud arises. The ventral pancreatic bud develops below the liver bud or the bile duct, and it will grow in the ventral mesentery. So in the first picture we can see over here is the ventral mesentery. So the ventral pancreatic bud is going to grow into the two folds of peritoneum, that is the ventral mesentery. The dorsal pancreatic bud is larger as compared to the ventral pancreatic bud, and it is the first bud to appear, then the ventral pancreatic bud, and it will grow dorsally into the dorsal mesoduodenum. So both these buds are derived from which part? From the endoderm lining of the foregut part. Which part of the foregut? The duodenum. So derived from the endoderm lining of the duodenum, similar to the liver and the gallbladder. Now the second step after the formation of the pancreatic bud is the rotation of pancreatic bud. This picture we had already seen. So this was the duodenum, and in the dorsal mesoduodenum, what is developing? The dorsal pancreatic bud is developing. Similarly, in the ventral mesoduodenum, the ventral pancreatic bud is going to develop. But this picture clearly shows only the dorsal mesoduodenum with its dorsal bud, pancreatic bud. So with the rotation, we know that the duodenum is going to rotate along with the rotation of the stomach. So with the rotation of the duodenum, what will happen? The dorsal mesoduodenum will also rotate to the right side. So because of this, the structure which is developing in the ventral and the dorsal mesoduodenum, they are also going to be shifted. So we can see that with the shift of the duodenum, the dorsal pancreatic bud will come to the, finally will come to the left side. So now we'll do it in the detail in the next subsequent slide. So we know that with the rotation of the duodenum, when the duodenum is going to rotate to the right, the dorsal pancreatic bud, which is developing the dorsal mesoduodenum, and the ventral pancreatic bud developing in the ventral mesoduodenum are also going to rotate with the duodenum. So in the second picture, we can see the rotation of the duodenum. So when the duodenum rotates to the right and acquires its C-shape, the dorsal pancreatic bud, which was developing in the dorsal mesoduodenum, will shift to the left side. So in the picture, we can see the dorsal pancreatic bud has shifted to the left side. What will happen to the ventral pancreatic bud? Although in this picture the ventral pancreatic bud is not shown, but what will happen to the ventral pancreatic bud? It will shift to the which side? To the right side. It will come on to the right side. In the first picture, we can see the ventral and the dorsal pancreatic bud and its cut section. This ventral pancreatic bud and the dorsal pancreatic bud. The second change that is taking place in the duodenum is the differential growth of the duodenal wall, which is similar to the stomach differential growth. So all the regions of the duodenal wall are not growing at the same rate. So because of that, what happens is the ventral pancreatic bud, which was initially here in the right side. So the ventral pancreatic bud, which was located on the right aspect, shifts point to point along with the bile duct. So this is the bile duct and this is the ventral pancreatic bud. Both were on the right side of the duodenum. They shift pointwise posteriorly. They reach pointwise shift posterior to the duodenum and reaches where they reach finally below and behind the dorsal pancreatic bud. So the dorsal pancreatic bud stays in its position, that is on the left aspect of the duodenum. The ventral pancreatic bud, which was on the right side, shifts pointwise along with the bile duct to reach the left side of the duodenum and will be located below and behind the dorsal pancreatic bud. In the cut section picture also we can see the movement of the ventral pancreatic bud from the right aspect of the duodenum to the left aspect, crossing the duodenum from behind and then fusing with and then coming in relation to the dorsal pancreatic bud in its posterior aspect. So last is the process of development is the fusion of both the pancreatic buds. So finally the dorsal pancreatic bud, which is on the right side, and the ventral pancreatic bud, which has come just below and behind the dorsal pancreatic bud, both the buds are going to fuse with each other. In the meantime, the duct system is also developing within the dorsal and the ventral pancreatic bud. The bud system of the dorsal pancreatic bud reaching in the minor papilla, and this from the ventral is reaching the major papilla along with the bile duct. So what happens is there is communication between both the buds of the dorsal pancreatic bud and the ventral pancreatic bud. So this we can see there is a communication between the two buds that is taking place. So there is not only fusion of the pancreatic buds, there is fusion of the ductal system of both the buds as well. So the structures that are going to be developed from this ventral pancreatic bud is the ventral pancreatic bud will form the which portions of the definitive pancreas? They will form the uncinate process. You have done it in the gross anatomy, uncinate process, and the inferior part of the head of the pancreas will be formed by the ventral pancreatic bud. What will be the derivative of the dorsal pancreatic bud? The dorsal pancreatic bud will form the superior part of the head of the pancreas, the body of the pancreas, and the tail of the pancreas. As we said that the ductal system of both the dorsal and the ventral pancreatic buds are also going to fuse. So this leads to the formation of the main pancreatic bud. This main pancreatic bud joins the bile duct and both together open into the second part of the duodenum as a major duodenal papilla, and this is the very important landmark because this divides this is exactly the junction between the foregut and the midgut. So how this main pancreatic duct is formed? This is formed by the duct of the ventral pancreatic bud. The second component is this communication between the ventral pancreatic bud and the dorsal pancreatic bud, and the distal part of the duct of dorsal pancreatic bud. All these three structures are going to form the main pancreatic duct, and they are going to open with the bile duct into the duodenum, second part, at the major duodenal papilla. Now we are left by the formation of the main pancreatic duct. Now we are left with only one leftover part of the ductal system, that is the proximal part of the duct of dorsal bud. This proximal part of the duct of the dorsal bud develops into accessory pancreatic duct and opens where it opens above cranial to the major duodenal papilla into the minor papilla into the duodenum. It opens into the duodenum, second part, as the accessory pancreatic duct. So the derivatives of all the dorsal pancreatic bud and the ventral pancreatic bud should be clear to you and should be remembered. The formation of both the main pancreatic duct and accessory pancreatic duct should be remembered. So we are done with the pancreas development. So now a little word about the peritoneal relation of the pancreas. So in this picture we have already seen the duodenum and the pancreas developing in the dorsal mesoduodenum. So over here this because of the shift of the duodenum, what happened? We already discussed that the duodenum and the pancreas became peritoneal. So initially the pancreas was intraperitoneal within the two folds of mesentery, dorsal and the ventral mesentery, but because of this fusion of the because of this approximation of the pancreas with the posterior abdominal wall and with the duodenum, what is happening? It is now becoming secondarily retroperitoneal. Now we come to the clinical aspect of the development of pancreas. There is the entity called as annular pancreas. What do we mean by annular? There is a ring-like structure. So in the third picture, can you see encircling the duodenum part, there is a pancreas which is developing, and this is constricting the duodenum. So this is called as the annular pancreas. How is it developing? Actually, the ventral pancreatic bud is bifid. So the cause is the bifid ventral pancreatic bud is there. This ventral pancreatic bud, normally what should have happened, the ventral pancreatic bud should have acquired the position onto the right side of the duodenum, and from there it should have moved dorsally to acquire its position just below and behind the dorsal pancreatic bud. But because of this ventral pancreatic, bifid ventral pancreatic bud, one of its bud is moving, one bud is right and one bud is left. So the right bud is moving posteriorly, just like its normal course, but the left bud moves in the opposite direction. You can see the two buds are moving in opposite direction and they are encircling what structure? This is the duodenum. So when they move around, instead of going posteriorly, one bud is going anterior to the duodenum, and both the buds, the left and the right segment of the ventral pancreatic bud is fusing with the dorsal pancreatic bud. So they are going to press upon the second part of the duodenum and will create a pancreatic ring around the second part of the duodenum. This is called as the annular pancreas. So the embryological basis of annular pancreas, you should be able to describe this pathogenesis by the movement, abnormal movement of the ventral pancreatic bud in bifid ventral pancreatic bud in both anterior and posterior direction to the duodenum. So obviously, because the bifid ventral pancreatic bud's portions are encircling, growing in opposite direction and encircling the duodenum, so the complication would be the obstruction of duodenum. So in the second picture also you can see the obstructed part of the duodenum because of the movement of ventral pancreatic, bifid ventral pancreatic bud on both the side, ventrally and dorsally. This is associated with certain syndromes like Down syndrome, intestinal atresia, imperforate anus and malrotation. Now at the end, let's summarize the lecture. The primitive gut, we saw that it was extending from oropharyngeal membrane to the cloacal membrane. The divisions of the gut was into the foregut, midgut and hindgut. The derivatives of each foregut, midgut and hindgut must be learnt and remembered. The derivatives of ventral and dorsal mesentery must be memorized. Development of stomach, liver and extrahepatic biliary apparatus was done. You must know the embryological basis of annular pancreas, and for this embryological basis, the development of pancreas should also be remembered. Another embryological basis of tracheoesophageal fistula was done today, and along with it, you should be able to memorize the development of esophagus. Thank you, student. After this lecture, we'll have the other lecture in which we'll be doing the midgut and hindgut. Thank you.